have to have some leverage of competency.
The sad part is I have no swag, dog.
Boom, what's going on? Agent 89, we're doing these breakdowns. Good morning, good afternoon. However you consume this Cut to It podcast. How are you, Coley? Good
Oh,
afternoon,
I'm
good
I'm
day.
just splendid. We're talking about some big time receivers today. I'm very excited.
Really? Big time receivers. Do tell. Who do
Per
you have in
per
store?
reading all the mocks, scouring through the web, following this whole draft from September until now, we're talking about some guys who are looking projected at least to be some potentially late day one, early day two guys, and we're leading it off right now with Oregon's finest, Troy Franklin.
Oregon's finest, Troy Franklin. He is 6'1", 6'2", depending on where you consume your information. 181, I probably would say probably not that big, but I will continue. Estimated 4.45 40, and we know he did better than that. Ran what, a 4.3, I believe?
441.
Oh, 4.41. Everybody's faster than me. Everybody's taller than me, so I just don't really consume the numbers. In that way, 2023 second team Associated Press All-American. Tied third in the FBS with 14 receiving touchdowns. Single season school record in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. Set the school record with 25 receiving touchdowns. Best game according to grading. Portland State, Stanford, Arizona State. Worst games, Washington, Oklahoma State, I believe, or Ohio State, whichever one, because I can't read my own handwriting. Washington State and South Carolina. They didn't play South Carolina.
Yeah, sure
It's
is.
SC. It's USC. Well, I live in Charlotte now, and I've adapted to the custom of these Southerners calling it SC. So I just adapted and quit fighting a good fight because I went to Utah.
Sure,
So I don't really
yeah.
care what you
Yeah.
call SC. I really don't. But games played, 41, 160 receptions, 2,483 career collegiate receiving yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 drops in 2023, only 2 drops 2022, 14 in his whole career, 57 first downs last year, and in his whole total collegiate career, 111 total first downs. Off the bat, what do I like about this? What do I like about Troy Franklin from the University of Oregon, number 11? He has it tattooed on his belly button
Midriff.
/ navel / mid chest, mid whatever, right? Fast life. He does have the fast life. A pure speed guy. Can run, he can go. He needs to work on his intermediate route game. If you watched his pro day, which I have, I watched a little bit, some other things about its leading up to his pro day and leading up to the combine. And why am I doing so much research? Because when I was watching Troy Franklin, one of the things that stood out to me was his field work wasn't smooth. But if you go watch some of his things that he's done at the combine, he was a little bit all over the place, was trying to use more speed than technique. So he lost his footing. I had talked about some of the guys weren't as clean in the field work, and he wasn't. We'll address later, gauntlet drills are applicable. But gauntlet drills for other guys can't be, well, he was fast through this, and so you need to get excited. Numbers, I call speed the accessory. Accessories are great to the uniform, to the outfit. But you still got to have some substance. You got to have, hey, if you're going in a cold place, the accessories ain't going to keep you warm. That's what Troy Franklin needs to work on is his accessory can't be the main thing.
And it's weird because his grade versus man coverage, at least per PFF, was 82, which is elite. But also knowing the pack, how much press man coverage was he facing? Was it consistent or was it a lot more zone? And when he happened to play man, maybe it was against like Portland State, like you said, not necessarily top tier competition.
It's just really top tier competition. We know because of NIL, and then also just guys getting opportunities, not having a chance to play or be recruited. Some of these guys with NIL, they go to these small
Sure.
schools first, the Portland States, the Holy Cross, the Boston College, and then they move on. And I say a small school like that because a lot of these kids will go to Boston College, Pitt,
Yeah.
ball for a year or two, and then transfer to USC and become a first round pick and go by the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, for example, yeah.
So I'm using that as, for example, to show you I'm not just pulling teams and pulling names or imagining these things. These things happen. And so it's not necessarily lower level competition, but I do want to see on lower level competition you ball out, that you show your dominance. This is the get right game. When you're playing Portland State, that should be a get right game.
He's got the speed, but the foundation, the technique might not necessarily be there. One thing I saw when watching him, once he had the ball in the open field, defenses were panicking. So once he gets the ball, look out. It's the getting to the ball you think he needs to work on.
Anything right now that requires leverage and contact, that's not his strong suit. That's just where he is today. Will he and can he advance? That requires good coaching. That requires him taking that good coaching and applying it on the field on the consistent and putting that in his arsenal, in his toolbox to be able to utilize it on.
How much of that is technique and how much of it is, I mean, you said 180.
Well, his build is slight. He's not a huge build guy. He will fill out or fill into his frame. How much? Bro, he's not going from 176 to 237. That's not.
I can show him how to do that if he needs to learn how to put.
yeah, I bet you can. I bet you can. But coming out of his break, sometimes he gets stuck. You watch his pro day. His pro day for me was interesting. It just showed me they really understood how to display where he should get drafted as a speed guy with quickness, can really eat up the cushion of the defender, which puts the defender on his heels. That allows you to now manipulate and turn and flip the hips of the corner. And he displayed that on his pro day of running a lot of speed routes. Wasn't a lot of routes where you go, ooh, man, that was sharp. It wasn't a lot of diagrams on his routes. It was a lot of just displaying the big arm strength that his quarterback needed to show. But it was a highlighting of, this is what I can do well. And I tip my hat off to those guys preparing him for a pro day that displayed his strengths and did a good job of not really showing, hey, I don't get in and out of the breaks as good as some of these other guys that are ahead of me. And so I minimized the critiquing of me. But the scouts and the people who have access, we watched this film. We know exactly what he can and cannot do. And now he's gonna go to a team that they want to see exactly what he is in their offense. How can they utilize him? And a lot of that will be quick outs, quick ends, deep ends, screens, getting him the ball in space and trying to keep him off of press.
Talking about the pro day too, especially with Oregon, when we had like Malik on, we know his pro day is going to be very focused on him just based on coming out of Virginia. I know teams out there, they were looking at JPJ, the center that they have coming out. a lot of people looking at Bo Nix, even though there's more tape on Bo Nix than any quarterback prospect that there ever has been or will be. But a lot of people are still out there to see the arm.
Mm-hmm.
How much, especially for the receiver going into that, you're mostly there to make the quarterback look good, or do you know enough people are there to also see you as well?
It's a combination of both. You have some routes that the quarterback needs to throw, and then you have some routes that the receiver needs to run. And when you have those two guys going at the same time, that's where chemistry is allowed to display itself. Where you're gonna script some things and script plays, and I say script. Hey, he's gonna throw it 47 times. So you in those 30 or 47 throws that they've already told the scouts they're gonna do, they're gonna have some routes in there that specifically highlight the receiver. And then they got routes that specifically highlight the quarterback. So I said these are the routes that he's gonna run. This route first. These are the routes that he's gonna run that he does well, you're gonna see. And then I'm gonna list the routes that he needs to work on. So the routes that he runs well: post, go, glance, slant, deep ends. Double moves versus a lesser corner, they're okay. Comebacks, curls, anything that requires leverage and contact is not his strength right now. His superpower is speed, and his weakness is speed. So he's right there. See him? Quick out. Small thing. Comes out of the break. You see that landing strip. And watch how when he's catching a football, he's going back towards the line of scrimmage. Yes, that could be the throw. Watch his yards after catch. Pretty good. And that's against Washington. So it ain't no slouches out there. This play right here is against Washington State, statistically one of his worst games. But I like to look at those. I like to look at both to kind of tell me why. And some of it has to do with being off the mark. Turns the corner, gets him going with his speed. Pretty good route. Now the next play took this one back out of his 2022 versus Washington State again. But just watch creates the free access. Speed.
Get out of the way, ref.
Because the ref. I'm telling you, man, the referee's in the middle. They try to earn them glizzies, dog.
Who's he playing
trying to
for?
earn them glizzies. So he inside technique of the corner, goes inside, uses his hands. You remember we was talking about with neighbors, I said I don't like shoulder releases. If you try to shoulder release this guy, that's now all of a sudden where you create contact that's uncalled for, which now makes it a contested catch. But fist fight in a phone booth, uses the right hand, swipes, crosses over. That allows him to catch the football. Deep end, one of his specialties. I'm just let this run. Corner has no chance. Deep end, catches the football, does a good job. Washington State again, this is 2022. See the creativity of eating up the cushion. Free access, that's a problem. You give this kid with this much speed free access, puts the indicator step, puts his foot in the ground, lets the quarterback know that where he's going, breaks a tackle. Dangerous. Now, let's go current. USC. Deep in again. Catches on the go. This is a track meet.
Well, this
You're
one
not gonna
too,
win.
especially. I think this is his premier highlight. It's the one you see the most when you search his name on all social media. the safety gets spun like a top. He gives a look
Yeah.
to the inside. He gives another indicator step. Once he has the ball in his hands, and he's just done. He's just absolutely at that point right there. He turns his head, looks at the O, and he's gone.
Against Washington, this is why I say he gets stuck in the ground. The corner is very patient. So now he's corners all over him. I already know the corners all over him. But that's how they play in the National Football League.
Well, also, how much of that is because they're in the red zone, the corner knows, I know this isn't going to be a dead sprint. I know you don't have 40 yards of runway here. They're using the end zone as another defender almost. So how much of that affects that route?
It does. It's everything about it. But that's where you have to sell the route to the corner
Yeah.
somehow, some way. Is it fair?
No, I mean,
Oh, Steve, it's too much. You have to.
yeah,
That's part of the job. Part of the job is to sell this guy this lemon, no matter what. I know the car is on 4 flats. Don't worry about that. We will fix it. Just get us the certified check. We good.
Yeah, and
That's what it is.
Oregon's trying to score there, so it's not like I'm not trying to make excuses, but in terms of a comeback route like that, should he have? Yeah, that's what I mean. Should he fake inside and then come back? Is there not enough time for that? Is it a timing route?
He doesn't have that time. What he can do is sprint, give him everything you have going outside and believe that it's going to be a go. Swipe, grab, chicken wing, come back down, hope that the quarterback throws it to the front pylon where the throw should be.
Yeah, just kind of stop.
But I believe that has to do with the lack of strength that he has fighting through contact. Again, below 40% on contested catches.
And this isn't. I'm not trying to compare to these players, but when I see a back shoulder like that, especially in the red zone, I think of Rodgers to Devontae, like maybe the best to ever run that combination at both quarterback and receiver. And yeah, like you're saying, it's not like Devontae has 5 yards of separation when the ball gets there. It's very much the phone. He's never leaves the phone booth. The defender's always on his back. He just knows how to turn, get the ball all in one motion. And again, that's like the pinnacle of that. So I'm not comparing Troy Franklin to that, but just saying like how it can and has been done before.
It is something that he will and can work on. What we're seeing today is what he needs to work on. Isn't set in stone that he can't and won't ever impact the game. That's not it. I'm just going over what I see and what his game of Troy Franklin, what he brings to the table, and what he needs to continue to keep.
Yeah, and almost none of these players are finished products. Almost none of them.
None of them. Nope. And we'll continue to keep going. So I got some more film. Man to man. What are we gonna do? Good catch. That's great catch. When I talk about what does he do well, this is the level of speed that Troy Franklin brings to your team, why you will draft him, and why people are in love with the fast life with Troy Franklin. Ball placement, great adjustment, puts 2 feet down, goes in.
That corner ate up his space immediately. The Washington one kind of let him dictate the route. This corner wasn't playing it.
Troy Franklin, he adds a level of speed to your offense. However, I just would love for him to add a little bit more to his route tree. His release game he needs to work on when he gets to the NFL because they're more handsy, more physical, a little bit stronger. And I believe Troy Franklin will add to that wide receiver room. He's not a tier 1 receiver day one. But I believe he'll slowly, because I believe he's a day 2, day 3 guy. And that's maybe 4th round just because this draft class is just valued in such a different way. There's so many good players that you need to be concerned with and look at. And I just think that he can play. He can play really good. He's a fast, competing player that can play some football. I think there'll be some adjustments that he needs to make just on his style, but I think he'll fit in fine over time.
Day one rookie, not 3 years down the road, but day one rookie, is this a guy you see a team putting in motion more, or standing still and being like, use your speed and just go get it?
It just depends on their opponent. Depends on how rookie mini camp goes. Once they get the OTAs and in the summer and training camp, that they can determine is his releases good, and based on the routes, they'll put him in motion or they'll keep him at stationary stand. I believe he's an X, right, which is the speed guy who adds levels, who can who can really get the defense going. That's where I think he will live, and then they'll try to go routes, post glances. So I think he'll be fine. Well, that's our wrap up of Troy Franklin, and appreciate you watching.